Thank you all again. Thank you again for coming out in the rain, and I'm really happy that you're all here, and I'm really happy to be here as well. I want to thank Katie McGowan, who organizes this Deep Space Public Artist Residency Project, and everybody that's been helping and working with me to help bring the project together. It's been really great so far. It's great to have your work supported, and to have any organization or place be willing to support what you want to do, but particularly to be able to be here is just very significant to me. I think half the people in this room already know why that's significant to me, because you know where I'm from and you heard some of that in the very wonderful introduction that Katie just gave. And you also got a sense of how great Katie is and sort of the principles behind this program and why it's so meaningful, and I hope that it continues to be as meaningful. But why I'm so happy to be here in Detroit is because I'm from Michigan. I grew up in Lansing. I went to Michigan State. I worked here for 2 years straight out of Michigan State for the mayor of the city, and you can do your math and know what that was. And that's all I'm going to say about that. And then since then, I lived in DC for a little bit, and I've lived in New York, and I live in Harlem now. Harlem has a lot in common with Detroit. There's some eerie parallels. It's kind of trippy being back here right now, between being downtown in the Coleman A. Young Municipal Center and then working out of this institution that was like hardly there at the time that I was here, now up the street a little bit. There's a lot to digest, but it's very significant to me. My parents have moved closer to the area now, so when I come home, I come into DTW. So yeah, it's like being able to come back in this whole other phase of my life, home, almost home. So it's very meaningful. I'll be here for a while. I'm hoping to come back later on in the year and do some other things. And I hope that this project that I'm doing here now and whatever it turns into and leads to can be useful and meaningful in this community. So I'm going to give like a quick overview of the idea of the Moving Murals project, and then I'm going to stop talking and show some of my video work that's not showing in the Moving Murals program, and allow that to speak and introduce me, because I think it does that a lot better than I can do with a few sentences. But the gist of the Moving Murals program is a project that's considering this medium of video as a medium for public engagement. And really over the last few years, just going along the course, and what I'll show in these slides that I have for you, going along the course of my work, I've been realizing that I don't feel like I should be separating the video work that I do from the public projects that I do, because they come from the same place and they have the same motivations. And I think that this medium is just very useful in this way in terms of engaging people who have perhaps been made to feel unwelcome in museum spaces, or made to feel like that's not something that they're supposed to have in their life. You know, I think imagination is something that everybody's supposed to have in their life, and that's really the core of, that's why I make the things that I make, that's why I do what I do, because life is like really difficult without exercising my imagination for me. I think it's a tool for survival, and I just hope to share it with other people. And I also would like to recognize the other 3 wonderful artists that I have brought with me in spirit in this program. I can't really imagine doing a public program that's meant to build community and like create discussion and get people interacting with each other by just showing them my work. That just doesn't quite seem right to me. So I'm not really a curator, but lately I've been showing a lot of other people's work too. So I'm showing 3 artists: Aisha Cousins, Ariel Jackson, and Jasmine Morell. This is Aisha Cousins. She's from and based in Brooklyn, New York. She is not necessarily a video artist, but more of a performance artist who writes scores, she calls them, basically experiments, projects for other people to perform. And to the right of her, you see a project about to get underway that she calls Diva Dutch, where she finds 2 women and gets a whole lot of hair weave and has them braid their hair to each other so that they're connected. And then they do double Dutch with their actual hair extensions. She's really, really brilliant. This is Ariel Jackson. So you'll see all these people's work around the corner when we go on the other side. This is Ariel Jackson. To the left, that's Ariel Jackson as herself. To the right, on this projection here, you see Ariel as her alter ego character, Confusorella, who is hilarious. And Ariel is from New Orleans. All of these people's work, I feel like, is not directly talking about Detroit, but the conversation is definitely in line with this history here and what's happening here. And hers in particular, she actually came up last weekend because she had never been to Detroit, and this was like a good excuse for her. And she kind of imagines New Orleans and Detroit as like cousin cities. And this is Jasmine Morrell, who is from Detroit, looking fierce and fabulous. I love this picture. This is her in Haiti last summer. And this is some of her. She's also, she works in video and sculpture. And this sculpture relates to the video that's around the corner. She sometimes projects the video directly on it. She makes amazing work. So I'm not going to show you guys that yet. So I'm going to show you guys 3 minutes of a video that I made a few years ago, and then talk about how it's led to some other projects that I feel like ultimately lead to what's going on now. This is an excerpt from Battle for the Hearts and Minds.
The bridge is over.
Indeed, the man. First, I got it popping with that Niagara movement. Made it happen with 4 of the first 5 Pan-African conferences. And now I got this NAACP Crisis Magazine editor thing online. And I've been on my grind, looking out for the souls of black folks. Sure enough. Well, good sir, I must insist that I am, in fact, the man. I'm fresh on this scene, and already there are millions of black people around the world checking for my moves. We gonna take my Black Star Line right on home to Africa. This ain't cocky, this is confidence. Holla at your boy.
Let 'em know, brother man.
Garvey's movement just might succeed. I shan't raise a hand to stop it. Stop it.
So tell them again, me come to tell them again. Gwa. Tell them again, me come to tell them again. Tell them again, me come to tell them again. Gwa. Tell them again, me come to tell them. Manhattan keeps on making it, Brooklyn keeps on taking
stop
it.
This thing if you try. Haters can't block my shine. Black Star till I die.
Me? Hate on you, youngin'? I've been doing this since before you even thought about a passport.
Oh, my bad. That's right. You are the great I Am, leader of all Negroes, aren't you? Well, where is the leadership? I call upon Du Bois, who for years represented himself as a leader, and I ask him, in what direction are you traveling? And his answer is, wheresoever my master leads, I will follow. Oh, he tried to play him. Word. That's how it is, son. Did I stutter, homie? See, you on that make nice stuff. But I say,
let the black man have a country of his own.
Yeah.
If Asia is good for the Asiatics, if Europe is good for the Europeans, and America for the Americans, we are going to have ours in Africa, and we are going to fight and die for it if you please.
See, youngin', that's your problem. You got your facts twisted. The colored population of the United States has no destiny separate from that of the nation in which they form an integral part.
That's right. I fought for
Our
this
destiny is bound up with that of America. If we, born in America, cannot live upon the same soil, upon terms of equality with the descendants of other nations, then the fundamental theory of America fails and falls to the ground. You think just because you're one of those Harvard-educated mulattoes, you know everything. Well, shoot.
Hey, all your sucker MC, won't you please come out to play cards? Here's an example of KRS-One. Boom. Here's an example of KRS-One.
Between the Ku Klux Klan and your National Association for the Advancement of Certain People, give me the Klan for their honesty of purpose towards the Negro.
So I made that piece, when I started researching for it, I was really thinking about, I was like, okay, I live in Harlem now, and I have this like surface understanding of the Harlem Renaissance and all of these really commonly known things about this iconic neighborhood and this legacy, but I don't really know about it, and I didn't feel right about that. So I set out to make a piece, to do research that I could then translate into some type of work. And this is what came out. And I designed this flyer for it kind of simultaneously while I was working on it. And I was obviously, I mean, if you ever got a flyer on a street corner for a party or something, you recognize the like glowing outline of people and the fonts and the microphones. So then I had an opportunity to screen the video at the Schomburg Center in Harlem, and it was a free screening also, so I was like, this is perfect, like I can really show this piece to the neighborhood that inspired it. It's free, so I can get people, everybody will come, right? Very idealistic, hopeful thinking. And I printed up some actual versions of this flyer, and I went outside on 125th Street and Lenox Avenue to pass out flyers and try to get people to come to the screening. I had these posters made, I was really ready. My brother was out there videotaping while I'm doing this, and I'm passing out, I'm trying to get all these busy New Yorkers to stop and take these things, and most of them are passing me by. And as they're doing that, this guy, Abdul, who's also standing on the same corner, passing out flyers for his work, he overhears what's going on, and he's really, it starts to upset him. He was like, you know, what is this? It's Black History Month. We got to support the community. You know, y'all don't want nothing. If it's free, what's the matter with y'all? And he's doing all of this while wearing this pawnbroker's message. And he has a full Islamic name as well. Like, so, you know, like interest is an issue with Islam, and he's working for pawn. This is a lot going on. We turned the camera on him, and he ended up going on this whole soapbox moment that included this still moment, which I just thought was amazing. Like, there's so much going on here. There's so much irony happening. So first thing I did was transform that into a screen print. This is on this like gold paper. It's about 24 by 36 inches. Just a small poster thing, and it really stuck with me, and I kept thinking about it, and I kept thinking about this way of delivering information to people that's really common and recognizable in the neighborhood, and I thought, like, what else could we do with that? How else could you do that? So I printed up my own version of sandwich boards that, rather than saying we buy gold and diamonds, say we promote knowledge and love. And I printed up my own flyers that look very much like the flyers that Abdul has, which you can kind of see here, that also say we promote knowledge and love, and on the backside offer wisdom quotes from, first we started with Malcolm X, because this all happened on Malcolm X Boulevard. Malcolm X Boulevard used to be out on these corners doing his own soapbox thing. So we went out and passed these out to folks on the street, and it was cool, and people were into it. And that led to some other versions, the largest one being one that I did at the African American Day Parade in 2011 that goes straight up the center of Harlem. And I knew if I was competing with a parade, really, I just wanted to be out with a larger audience. So I knew there would be people out that day. But if we're going to be out with a parade, then we have to have, we got to have some flair. We got to get people involved. You can't hear me? Too much. Okay. Thank you. We got to get people to see us, you know, had to make a bit more of a visual spectacle of the thing. So I made these big paper mache heads for all these people that are referenced in Harlem. There's Frederick Douglass Boulevard, there's Harriet Tubman Triangle Park, there's Martin Luther King Boulevard, also known as 125th Street, Malcolm X Boulevard, of course, and there's Marcus Garvey Park, which is, people are trying to take it back to Mount Morris Park. But so I made these heads for all of them, and then they have individual flyers with individual quotes. And we went out into the streets and passed these out on that parade day. This little kid is really cute. I just found this picture. He was freaked out by Martin Luther King. A lot of kids were kind of scared, actually. But so that's one way that making a video and then sharing the video led to a more public engagement, and then that public engagement led to a whole other project. So when I kind of started to be thinking about how video and public work intersect. And then I'm going to show you another clip from another video, I think. How are we on time? It's all right, yeah? Okay, this clip is from a video I did in 2012 called Half Hasn't Been Told. That I'm not going to say much about it other than I do think I should introduce the characters that you're about to see. There's my great-great-grandmother, Addie, who was Osage Indian and lived in a black American community. There's Nat Turner, the famous slave revolter. Tecumseh, the Shawnee general, pan-Indian fighter guy. And then you see Sally Hemings of Thomas Jefferson fame, and Pocahontas of Disney and John Smith and other people fame.
All I do is going every day like about is all I want.
You mean to tell me Sally and Pocahontas stayed out all night with those Buffalo soldiers? Oh, heck no, Sister Addie. Those brothers gave it their best shot, but I saw Captain John pick up Pocahontas around 2:30. Yep, I saw Tom Jefferson pull up looking for Sally around 3. You can't tell those girls nothing about those two. It's like they got some kind of hold on them. Yeah, hold like a kidnapper. Hey, Mama Addie, Uncle Nat, Uncle Tecumseh. Sure is a lovely morning, isn't it? You know that Thomas, he says the sweetest things. Yeah, sweet like a rotten apple. He just makes me feel like I'm... Like you are as free as the wind, as high as the soaring eagle. Yes, Sister Pocahontas, just like that. I know, Sister Sally, because it is the same way my John Smith makes me feel. High as an eagle, my. Both of you must be smoking if you think either one of those colonizers ever wants you to feel freedom. You tell them, brother man. They're gonna put it together sooner or later. Now, Pocahontas, go put some shoes on. You trying so hard to be cute in that little hussy Halloween costume of a dress. Girl, you done forgot your shoes.
Invisible, deceptive, unpredictable, black ice. It's a slippery slope, unless you drive a Jeep Grand Cherokee.
For that, Trevor. Coming up, we go live to Bamazona Governor George Wallace Brewer Jr. responding to controversy regarding the newly passed concentration camp legislation. Grandma Addie! Stay tuned. And they finally did it. Bamazona went past that law. Say what? What SHR F2 Colored Groups for One stipulates is new jurisdiction for our boys in blue to profile potential illegals caught looking Mexican. Furthermore, it allows our boys the swift action of throwing them straight in the newly designated state concentration camp for illegals. No paperwork or big government hogwash necessary. Our taxpayers will be happy to know that we're killing 2 birds with 1 stone with this one. See, we got the new jail out there by the casino, and hard as we try, we can't seem to fill it up with the blacks soon enough. So we're just gonna change it up and use it to herd in all these Mexicans. It's ingenious, really, a real bargain for these recessionary times. Have y'all seen this bullshit? The only way to stop this evil is for all the red men and black to unite in claiming an equal right in the land. That is how it was at first and should be still, for the land was never divided, but was for the use of everyone. That's right. The use of existing state and federal facilities, sometimes municipal jails, to detain immigrants helps to drive the prison industrial complex. And because of the way in which this whole discourse of immigrants draws from and feeds on the racisms of the past, the racisms that have affected people of African descent, of Native American people, so it seems to me that the struggle for immigrant rights is the key struggle of our times, and it is a struggle for civil rights. It is a struggle for human rights. Right on, my brown earth-colored sister. A war is being waged against us. We have never really seen the war go away. I mean, if you're dying from the 7th Cavalry's bullets, or if you're dying from induced poverty and racism and class systems and sex systems, and you're dying from alcoholism and poverty, you're dying. It's the same as the bullet killing you. So what y'all trying to do about it?
You gotta watch the whole thing. to find out what they're going to do about it. But real quickly, oh, thank you. Thank you. Real quickly, just to give another example of how videos lead to things in real time and space. I did a project with Project Row Houses, a really amazing organization in Houston, Texas, that uses old row houses for art and also for housing. They actually have real housing for real people, low-income housing options. And they also have just all of this space that they're accumulating, all of these buildings in Houston that people are entrusting them with, including this place called the El Dorado Ballroom, which to me sounded like a place where my great-great-grandmother Addie might have actually went to hang out. So there's this ballroom scene in the video that we kind of recreated for a screening at the El Dorado Ballroom in Houston. We recreated it by creating these life-size cutouts of all of the people that are in that scene, and by offering information about them courtesy of my father, who I'm again partnering with here with the Moving Murals. We did a video screening program on Monday at EMU, which was really successful and really great. And for this project, I had a lot of things going on, and I needed to kind of delegate. And I asked my dad if he could come together with some bios for all of these people, and he did. So we had all these bios available for you to take in front of the individuals. So there's like Lena Horne, there's Edmonia Lewis, Bell Hooks, all these people that either have mixed race ancestry or did work that related to the history. And we also offered food. We had a soul food caterer and a Navajo woman who catered like fry bread, tacos, and desserts. Had a lounge area, tried to make it like a fun thing that you would want to do, not necessarily a stuffy art opening. There's Paula making the fry bread. That was one of the Buffalo Soldiers that hit on Pocahontas and Sally Hemings. And that's the people watching. There's like a Mardi Gras Indian back there. It was really cool. Doing another project with that video and food in the spring with an organization called Desert Art Labs that works out of Phoenix and shows people how to make sustainable, healthy food out of this cactus that grows everywhere, essentially like a weed, but is actually an ancestral food item that they're going and reteaching people how to cook this food and live off of this food, and they're doing it as an art project. They have this mobile cart that they go around with. So I'll be taking this video around and doing screenings all over the place in Phoenix and doing like micro community translation labs to come up with a full Spanish version of Half Hasn't Been Told, as it's begging for a Spanish translation. And there's so much vernacular in it that I can't really go to like a Google Translate for that. So another project I'm looking forward to. The most recent thing that I did before coming here is something called the People's Laundromat Theater that I did with the Laundromat Project. Was given the opportunity to run a public program out of a laundromat and just immediately thought about video, about taking over the monitors in a laundromat to show the videos. And again, like I talked with you guys before, I didn't want to just show mine, so I invited friends and friends of friends, and in total we had 32 artists contributed about 12 hours of footage that we looped in the laundromat for the whole summer. And we had these rating and comment card boxes available for people to share their thoughts, and they did. Harlem shared a lot, good, bad, and ugly. Yes, they did. But it was really cool. We did workshops, we did discussions. It was a really great summer. And it closed with this finale. We needed to do something with the product of those top rated films. So we were going to have a screening, but I wanted it to kind of speak to like this, the tradition of Hollywood and movie premieres. So we had a red carpet finale where everybody was a VIP. The Schomburg Center was, again, instrumental in this and was very wonderful and willing to host it. We had the People's Paparazzi, we had DJ food. It was really pretty great. And all three of the artists, well, four, myself included, of the artists that are in this Moving Murals program participated in this project. So I'm kind of feeling like this is like a continuation of that, and it gave me the chance to look at all this work and kind of piece together what would make sense for the setting here in Detroit. So that brings us to the present. So I think we'll walk around the corner if you guys don't mind, and you can kind of see there's also some actual objects that complement the videos. Okay, yes, Dad. Okay, Khalil Muhammad is the director of the Schomburg Center. He's one of the grandsons of Elijah Muhammad. Elijah Muhammad has like hundreds of grandkids. Yeah, Detroit. Yes, absolutely. Okay, there we go. So yes, that's another transition to Detroit. Let's transition around the corner in Detroit and check out moving murals.